get started. All right, 7th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, make sure our phones are awake. Thank you. Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming. This is our final concert of the year. So this is a culmination of just everything our students have learned this year in our orchestra classes. So we're going to start our program with our 6th grade today with a piece that is all arco, so with their bows. So they're very excited to play it for you. It's called Into the Midnight Forest, and then I'll start talking again right after that. All right, here's Into the Midnight Forest with our 6th grade orchestra. Awesome, we'll move right along. They sound great with their bows. I cannot emphasize enough how difficult and unnatural it is to play an instrument with your bow. You're rubbing the butt of a horse's hair on metal strings using tree sap to make music. It's very odd, but they're doing a really great job with it. It has taken me 7 years of playing the instrument to actually sound pretty good on it. So these kids are doing a great job in just the short time that we've been working our canonic instruments. So they're doing a great job. We're going to continue with a version of Vivaldi's Four Seasons that was written for beginning instruments, just to introduce them to this music from the early 1700s. So both of these movements, they're based on the pieces by Vivaldi he wrote in 1720. And they go along with poetry, and Vivaldi actually wrote the songs based on not only the season, but based on these poems that were written about the season. So we're going to start with Fall. Here's the poem. The children celebrate with dance and song, happy for the cooler days. Forest trees dance in orange and reds, leaves float on gentle winds, and they sleep with the moon watching. So you will listen at the end. They are actually composing their own music tonight. The last 16 bars in this piece, they get to pick their own notes. And so you'll imagine all the trees shedding their leaves and the leaves falling at the end. And then we'll move on with Winter. Frozen and trembling in the icy snow, in the blast of the horrible wind. As we run, we constantly stamp our feet, and our teeth chatter in the cold. This is winter, but it brings joy. And you'll hear at the end, they're doing a bit of an extended technique. They'll be playing on their strings with the wood part of their bow. And it's supposed to be like the chattering teeth at the end. So here's Fall and Winter from the Four Seasons. very well this year. Every Friday we try to spend at least the first half of the class doing positives, and they just give any thing they're working towards this, over the weekend, if they have a sport event, if they're hanging out with their cousins, if they're playing board games with their family. These kids love talking about you. It's actually hard to have class on Fridays sometimes because they love talking so much. But they love talking about their families and everything that they're doing outside of school, and it's just great to celebrate all that stuff with the kids. And what happens in school is important, but it's equally important, the fun they have outside of school. And it's been so wonderful to get to know these sixth graders this year. These are an awesome group of kids. We're going to finish the program with a piece I found last year from, I taught in Marion for 4 years, and I co-taught the high school orchestra. And the director, I asked him, what's a good pizzicato piece that they could do in sixth grade? And he said, oh, you have to do pizzicato push-ups. So we'll finish our sixth grade program with pizzicato push-ups. Thank you.
4 beats. 1, 2.
Here we go. We'll be moving right along with Angelina Baker. This is a traditional fiddle tune. Let's see here. All right, so I really love bluegrass music. The kids probably hate that I play it so much, but Billy Strings is one of my favorite artists, and he had a version of this song that I really liked, so I was like, let's play it for orchestra. So this is a fiddle tune, Angelina Baker. You'll notice the 7th graders is playing one piece on their own. They are playing combined with the 7th and 8th grade on Saturday at Loveland Middle School in the morning. So I wanted to give my 8th grade a chance to play. They're playing 2 shorter pieces, so I wanted to make sure they had a couple pieces they can play, but they'll be playing together after my 8th grade plays. So just remind you, run over here after you're done. Thank you. But here's Angelina Baker.
Bum, 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 bum. Sure. Ready? 1, 2.
start with a piece called Presto, which literally just means fast, so it's a tempo marking, but this is a fun piece that gets them playing the key of G major, where they get to play between their tapes a little bit. If you look at every instrument in this room, they have tapes on their fingerboard. That helps them show where to put their fingers when they first start off. But as they get more advanced, they end up playing between those tapes. There's notes between all of them. So we'll start with Presto, and then move on to Dragon Pearl.
Here we go. One, two.
moving on over, I have a few thank yous I want to give. So thank you, first of all, to everyone for coming. Your support means the world to this group. I feel very fortunate to have this many students in an orchestra program. You may not know, but it's actually not entirely common to even have an orchestra program in a school, and this school is so much better because of it. I have several teacher friends that all became band directors after college, and most of them are teaching in schools that do not have an orchestra program, and they are missing out so much. This is a great place for these students to express themselves. It's a great group. Music is amazing. It's everlasting, it's eternal, music is friendship, music is the embodiment of synergy, being a part of something bigger than yourself. These students, especially in a group like this, would not be able to perform some of this music without all the support from both their parents and all their peers getting to play with them. So we had this group in the band room this morning. It was very cramped in there, but I just had so much fun conducting them this morning. Having this big of a group playing grade 2 music in middle school is really something to be proud of. So these kids have done a wonderful job. I wanted to thank a few other people. Mr. Newman, our wonderful principal, is here. He does a wonderful job for your students. Every parent, every teacher, every aide in this building, every custodian, every lunch worker, just any adult in this building, they are wonderful. They do amazing things for your kids, just for your children, and yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you. And just before we play our last one, I also want to thank my parents. So I was actually sick this weekend, so I didn't get to go home for Mother's Day, or my father's birthday was on Monday, so happy birthday, Dad. Happy birthday. But yeah, so thank you so much for coming. They've been my biggest supporters. My second bell of 6th grade today, I got to hear this. I'll read it from my first bell yesterday. I didn't tell my mom this either, but this was the letter she wrote me when I was in 7th grade before I played my solo in front of the school. And so Mom gives me these letters all the time. I'll just like go on a trip and find it in a bag, like she snuck one in. But she's my biggest supporter, same with my dad. They're my biggest cheerleaders, and you're the biggest cheerleaders for your students, and you mean the world to them. Just talking to my 6th grade today, some people are getting emotional just talking about the support they have at home. So I really appreciate all of you, and thank you, parents. So we'll finish the program with. We'll finish the program with Our Heroes in Gaelic Castle. So thank you so much for coming.
Listen. Okay. 1, 2, ready. Thank you so much for coming. If you wouldn't mind helping us strap in stands and our chairs, thank you so much for coming, everyone.